Hello, I'm Margaret Dickinson, and this is my Metacognitive Reflections video for EDU349, Secondary Methods in English. First, an introduction on me. I'm Margaret Dickinson. My course of study is elementary education with a concentration in special education and a pathway into secondary English. My activities here are volleyball and track. I've been on the volleyball team for all 4 years of college and track the last 3. So why did I choose English? I've always loved reading and writing. I'm an only child, so a lot of my entertainment came from reading books and just sort of losing myself in those magical realms, and even history through like Magic Treehouse and Little House on the Prairie. I was just always reading as a kid. I found a lot of success in English classes. I was actually here at UMPI taking a class with late Professor John Haley, and he inspired me to pursue the English pathway because he said he saw a lot of potential in me, and I just went from sort of a high school method of English that I didn't really enjoy to coming into a classroom that revitalized my love for English and showed me that I could teach in a different method and still enjoy English. So one of the things we covered a lot in this class in particular is critical thinking or close reading. This is really important because critical thinking helps students develop really crucial thinking skills that are not only beneficial to them in the classroom as they read, but also in their life beyond the classroom. These are skills that are more than just how to read and what to take from the reading. These are skills about how to analyze what things mean beyond just the words on the page and how to think about them individually and maybe transfer or apply them to things in the real world. Critical thinking is a process of collecting and analyzing data. It's done through evaluation, problem solving, decision making, analyzing, and reasoning, and it's really to get underneath the surface meaning of a text, as I've said. So how will I use this method in my classes? Well, I really liked the books, The Close Reading in the Secondary Classroom and Write Like This. I think they provided a lot of detailed descriptions and templates of how to get students critically thinking, how to get them motivated to want to learn. One of the things that I found in my high school experience was we were told we were critically thinking, but not told why, or why it was important, or really I didn't think that I was thinking critically because I didn't know what it meant. And I didn't feel like it applied to the real world. So one of the things I want to do as a teacher is use the methods in these books, like analyzing stuff in however many characters are in a tweet, or making a fake Amazon review to compare 2 books, and things like that that will really bring students' real lives into the classroom so that they can learn these skills in ways that they know are useful. Because I am both an elementary and secondary major minor situation, I really learned a lot from bouncing between the two. In elementary, a lot of the skills I learned from all those classes I took beforehand really were transferable to secondary education. The only difference really is adjusting the difficulty level. I do think that elementary is more about the foundations of being able to read and write and the initial learning and developing of maybe some analysis skills. But doing the secondary work, I think that we could challenge elementary students more, and that's sort of my goal. I think they're capable of more than they're given credit for, and this time period in their lives, their mind is growing and developing so rapidly, and they're so capable of doing more critical thinking than I think the standards necessarily set forth for them. and I would like to take some of what I've learned about critical thinking in secondary and try to incorporate it to push my elementary students further. As for secondary, my elementary base did help a lot because I already knew how to set up lesson plans and like how lessons should flow and the basics of worksheets versus interactive online pages versus just sort of all that differentiation. I think the tools I learned about in elementary, like KWL charts, brain maps, jigsaw group, can be really useful when they're adapted in difficulty to developing this deep critical thinking that we talk about teaching in secondary levels. My observations in this class really helped me get over the initial reservations I had about being a young female teacher attempting to teach students that aren't that much younger than I am. I didn't think that I'd be respected or able to do it, but I actually found a different enjoyment than elementary because these students do have immense like personalities and stuff that they have already decided for themselves in lives, and you can use sarcasm and you can use sort of different engagement strategies to have more of an adult conversation through teaching, which I enjoyed a lot, and I didn't know that I would. Overall, my philosophy as education is it's not one size fits all in any level. I got to take into account unique differences in learning and life that each student will bring to my classroom. It's essential to get to know your students, and the books also provided different ways to sort of quiz your students on themselves and get to know them so that you can tailor their education to their specific needs. And I want to really get them into that zone of proximal development, which is where they're appropriately challenged so that it's not so easy they give up out of boredom or so hard they give up because they're frustrated. As for English specifically, I want to teach students how to advocate for themselves, both in their writing and speaking. This will center a lot around critical thinking because I think that schools nowadays tend to push, especially in English classes, certain agendas. I would say it's one strand of thinking and I'm going to teach you how to think that way. And I want to be the teacher that teaches all facets and allows students to pick where they're going with their essays. If they have a theme of their essay that I don't necessarily agree with, I want them to be able to support that and make a stand and have good writing and maybe even teach me more and change my views. So what now? I still see myself pursuing and teaching at the elementary level initially, but this course really solidified my desire to teach secondary and my confidence to be able to teach secondary someday.